I'm County Council Chair Randall Ryti, and I'm here at the Los Alamos Daily Post to provide an update on our June 30th, 2026 County Council regular session. So we started the meeting with public comment. We did have public comment on the Lanel Pit Production Mission, and also with the severe traffic issues we had for a period of time on Juneteenth. And next we had the Lasses and Lads of Enchantment sing America the Beautiful for us. They'll also be performing at the July 4th events at Loverlock Park on the 4th of July this Saturday. Next we had a proclamation for America 250th, and then we had a proclamation for Parks and Rec Month, which is July 2026. The consent agenda had 4 items. There was an appointment to the Property Evaluation Protest Board. We had a couple of sets of budget revisions, and then we had approval for submitting a grant application for the Manhattan era dorm. We had 2 ordinances introduced. Both were regarding potential changes to the charter, subject for adoption or rejection at the November 3rd general election. So one has to do with limiting which boards require a balance of partisan affiliation. The other one has to do with the priority of budgeted expenses for utilities. We had 3 public hearings. One was regarding the increased water rates. So this ordinance was a 2-year, 8% for each of the next 2 years for most customers. So residential and commercial, and also the county and the schools. There was a larger increase in the first year for Los Alamos National Laboratory. So we did have some public comment opposed to the ordinance. It did wind up passing, and I think there are a number of factors for this. As we know, the Board of Public Utilities is actually responsible for creating the ordinance, and then the council just either approves or rejects them. And there can be some comments if it's rejected, as we saw for the gas ordinance. But in this case, this one was approved. I think one of the reasons might have had to do with the fact that, Los Alamos National Laboratory had been paying a non-compensatory rate. And so all the water rates that we have are compensatory. They're generally less than most of our neighboring communities. So there was a number of factors for making that decision. We added an inclusivity board, so we'd had the task force earlier, and that was one of the recommendations that they made, was having an ongoing board. So that passed. So once that's effective, then application or information about applying for that board can be sent out to the community. So another item that we had as a public hearing was adding dogs biting pets or domestic animals. Previously, the ordinance stated it was regarding dogs biting people. So it got expanded to include pets and domestic animals in addition to people. And this was at the request of someone that had a pretty horrible incident with their pet. And so that one passed as well. So budget items, we had one item that was a discussion about cameras, and this are primarily the cameras for discussion were the ones that the police department uses. So the police department has some license plate reader cameras, and they're installed at some intersections around town. And there was explanation as to why the police had requested these. We've actually had these in place since 2023. There was a lot of public comment on this item, generally concerned about how the data would be used, what are the benefits to the community, what are some of the costs of having this kind of data available to the police department. So we did have discussion amongst council and lots of questions, and we will be following up on license plate reader technology and data and how it's managed. The next item had to do with speed cameras, which is a related item. So the speed cameras dates back to a discussion we started back in fall of 2024 about traffic safety. And so there was a particularly horrible set of accidents that year. We've had some other accidents subsequently. So again, this is an item that's been of some discussion and debate amongst council, And we did pass ordinance to allow us to, purchase the speed cameras. And so we did wind up passing it. There was a lot of discussion and concerns also about this technology and how the data are being used and managed. And in this case, the data will be managed by this third party, but the data really are the county's data. And so it was for a 2-year agreement or 4-year agreement, excuse me. And so we'll see after 1 year, how this is working. So that was one of the things we agreed to, was to look at the various initiatives that we had put into place regarding road and traffic safety and see how they were working or not working. So look forward to seeing that, probably next year, if not later this year. Another business item we had was approving the purchase of the Los Alamos School of Gymnastics building. So basically the improvements there on the property that's county owned. So I want to thank the board of that nonprofit and also Louis Janicki for all the service to the community. And it was explained what the proceeds would be used for scholarships for children. So that passed without a lot of questions. Another thing we had on the business on the 30th were safety improvements for Ashley Pond. And as we know, last year we had the Jersey barricades, and then we put them up again this year. They blend in better this year, but we had been seeking a more permanent solution without having to have things that are moved in and out. So this was something that the public was surveyed for their preference for 3 different options. So the one the council wound up selecting was a large boulder option, and about 4,000 pounds each. And it turned out that we'll most likely be able to source those locally. So it'll be a combination of boulders and some plantings, and it'll be fairly natural looking. So that was definitely the strong preference. About 70% of the people that took the survey preferred that option. Another business item were some improvements to the Betty Ahern Senior Center. So the HVAC and some other improvements for the building. So it's going to mean that the building is going to be closed from August through about May of next year, and other arrangements have been made for some of the ongoing services there, like the lunch and the day out center. And so those are going to be accommodated in Fuller Lodge. And we did discuss, how other groups are, how much the impact this is on, other facility rentals. And so we do have the chambers at the municipal building available in some other spaces that are going to help us get through that period. The other thing that we approved on the 30th was salary increases for the contract employees, so the county manager, county attorney, and utility manager. So the next meeting is July 7th. We're going to be having the public hearing on the possible charter changes subject to the vote electorate. So that's the next step in the process for the ones that were just introduced on 30th. On July 14th now, we're expecting to have the LEDA projects that had been discussed at the June 23rd meeting, so the rock and the former CB Fox building. And the public hearing is tentatively scheduled for July 28th if they can be introduced on July 14th. So that's all I have for today. Appreciate everybody that came out for the meeting on the 30th and appreciate the comments you provide. So as always, please reach out to council or the county manager if you have any questions or comments about anything that's going on in the county. Thank you.